I remember he started talking about conspiracy theories, and, like, he wasn't overtly saying he was a flat earther, but maybe. Definitely believed that birds weren't real. I remember that.
Well, they aren't real.
Fuck off. Stupid.
I mean, do you remember any pictures of birds before 1845?
There weren't cameras before 1845.
Very convenient for the bird truthers.
I would like to introduce you to a little thing called cave paintings.
Yeah? Was that proof?
I'm pretty sure there were cave paintings of birds.
Imagination.
Nope. Super wrong. Very wrong. Listen, if birds aren't real, then how do you explain the bird shit?
See, that is people's gum.
It's not.
Gum is white.
Okay, yeah, but it doesn't wind up on your windshield in the middle of the frickin', like, highway and or in excess when you specifically park your car under a streetlight or a tree.
We got a lot of dangerous creative teenagers nowadays.
You are not actually trying to convince me that birds aren't real. This is the dumbest bit. This is so stupid.
What the hell's going on?
You are witnessing a front three-quarter view of two adults sharing a tender moment.
Yeah, let's kick his ass. Let's kick his ass.
My main goal is to blow up and then act like I don't know nobody.
Let's kick his ass.
How you people doing out there? All right, party.
You look like you need a hug. You're not gonna get one from me.
And run his pockets, yeah.
See? I just can't stand. Calm down, Sean. Don't tell me to calm down.
Oh yeah, let's kick his ass.
Terrorist propaganda! Mao Zedong would have loved you!
I'ma stab and put a lemon in the gash.
Pokemon go to the polls.
Make a splash. Let's hook him up, the jumper cables hit the gas.
I'm just unabashedly and unashamedly broadcasting my obsession on the internet.
I'll get you for this! You won't escape my wrath!
His body in the trunk. Then let's park the car somewhere and blow it up.
Sorry, Link. I can't give credit. Come back when you're a little richer.
Let's punch him in the face.
Okay. You know that I told that I don't want to stay on parade, but I fucking want to stay on parade. This is the best.
Alright, so you had a horrible Lyft this morning?
Dude. Okay. So, horrible is a strong word. I'm going to say that, so I Lyft back and forth a lot to my office. Usually about once a week. Which means that I've experienced a fair quantity of Lyft drivers. Some are lovely. I actually had one, I think, last week that was just delightful, and I really enjoyed my conversation with him. Some are dead silent. I love those ones. The ones that are dead silent the entire time are fantastic.
Yeah.
Some listen to my least favorite radio show in the entire world, which involves, at exactly the time that I get into the car to go to the office, a terrible like To Catch a Cheater style segment.
Like Jerry Springer Radio.
Exactly, in which they specifically try to, like, catch people cheating or whatever. And I swear to God, it can't be real, right? Like, they do it very realistically. It feels real, but I cannot imagine that people call in this often. And then, and then when they receive a call from a random unknown number, A, that they pick up.
Yeah.
And B, that none of them upon hearing, like, oh, we're going to send flowers to the person of your choice, you just have to say their name, that they're not immediately like, this is a scam.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of here. Right? Like, every single one goes through with it.
I do like the most unbelievable part is picking up the phone.
I mean, seriously.
I don't know, it must be a generational thing for us, because, like, if someone calls your landline, like
you don't pick up.
No, it's like, well, your landline, like, back in the day.
Who has a goddamn landline?
Right, that's what I'm saying, is back in the, that's a generational thing.
Right.
You always pick up because someone knows your number.
Right, they're trying to get to you. But if a random number who is not in your contacts, that doesn't immediately translate to, like, Kaiser Permanente in your phone, and even sometimes then, you're not going to pick up.
Yeah.
Right? Like, no one picks up. So the idea that a random, like, radio station can call your phone number...
It just appears on the screen to catch a cheater's calling.
Like, just screw off. So I hate those ones. Right?
Yeah.
The Lyft drivers that listen to those are, like... I mean, there's nothing wrong with the drivers. There's people. They're fine people. It just makes me sad to have to sit there and listen to it.
Yeah.
However, sometimes the people that you get into the car with are just fascinating, for better or for worse. Sometimes they try to hit on you, which is very uncomfortable because you're trapped in the car with them for 20 minutes and you can't get out.
Yeah.
And sometimes they know where you live now, which is also not great. Sometimes they just go on about whatever, despite the fact that you're not giving them any reaction. This one attempted to recruit me to help build a space station.
Oh.
Yeah.
They're building a space station, but doing a Lyft driver's their day job.
So, the weirdest experience, because I get into this car, and first of all, this man is holding a 2-month-old puppy on his lap. And he's on the phone with someone talking about it. He's got the puppy on his lap. It is the very adorable small dog, very well behaved. Apparently he's been on the road for hours and no one has really noticed. And I only really did because he was talking to his friend on the phone about it. So he's got this puppy in his lap. And he gets off the phone call as we start to leave the thing. And I'm like, great, it's going to be a quiet ride. Awesome. We get a little bit further down the path and he's like, so you going to work? And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Yes, I'm going to work.
Nah, I just felt like waking up at 6:45 today.
No big, right? And so he's like, so you're going to work? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to work. He's like, you're going to this place? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to this place. He's like, what do you guys do there? And I'm like, well, we're a design firm. I work in architectural signage and doing environmental signage and that kind of thing. He's like, oh, like engineering stuff. And I'm like, yeah, kind of, like signage and engineering and branding. And he goes, oh my God, I have to get your number. Which immediately I'm like, no, I'm so sorry. Right? Like, Not only do I not give my number out to strangers, but I decidedly do not give my number out to Lyft drivers.
Yeah.
Ever. And so, like, immediately I'm like, oh God, I'm so sorry. Like, I can't. But he's like, I have to get your number because I'm working on this project and I want to get you involved. There was someone else that I wanted to get, but I couldn't get her number and I've always regretted it. So I'm like, okay, let me explain to you what I've got going on.
Mm-hmm.
And he launches into this spiel about, like, and I wish I could say that I understood it because I consider myself to be a relatively intelligent person. This guy is mixing words of, like, ridiculous levels of intelligence and cognizance about what he's talking about with a storyline that I can't quite follow. Clearly, he's leaps and bounds ahead, and he's got this whole thing plotted out, but he's having trouble explaining it because he's A, driving, B, trying to pull up a video on his phone for me to see, C, holding a dog in his lap, and D, attempting to not miss the exit to the highway.
Yeah.
And in, you know, this fancy sports car that we're in, and I'm like, I just want to get to work. And so he starts talking about the fact that, like, he starts talking about the fact that he plays this game, and the game has certain levels of design, and he's trying to build a space station because there's holes in the ozone layer that can be potentially repaired with electromagnetism.
Sorry, this is a game?
Right?
So this is a game he found on Steam?
Oh, well, at some point it decidedly moved from a game to a
real life
space station, and I don't know where the change happened. We were first talking about the game, and he was like, oh, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, oh, he just wants a commission of his game character. Fine, that's doable.
Right.
And then suddenly it's no longer about the game character, it's about a real-life space station that he wants to develop.
Does he want you to do branding on it? Like, what does that mean?
He thought I was an engineer.
Oh, he thought wrong. no disrespect, but he thought wrong.
I ain't no goddamn engineer. Like, let's be clear. If you gave me a rocket ship, I could make it look pretty. I'm great at branding. I could give it colors and patterns. I could even tell you what vinyl to use if it wasn't going into space. I have no idea what space vinyl is. I cannot tell you how to build a space station, nor give you any insight into how this functions. And so he goes on about this for a little bit longer and starts being like, but you guys as like engineers, you can give me insight. And I'm like, okay, I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to kind of re-explain this. My job is in aesthetics, right? I focus on graphic design, not mechanical design.
Would you give him your number if he offered you Adobe Full Studio for the rest of your life?
Hilarious? No.
Still no?
Well...
Because I feel like that's the best thing a stranger can give you.
It is a fantastic thing. However, 2 points. One, I am now tied to this man for the rest of my life because it is a subscription service, and so he has to renew it every month, which makes this a weird sugar daddy situation, which I am not here for. And 2, it means that I would actually have to be involved with this particular project. Which...
Yeah, and what if this guy's really cool? And it all works out.
I am fully of the belief that this man is like actually he's got the idea here. He has the terminology for it. He's going to school to figure this out.
And he wants to make a space station to help with the ozone layer.
No, it's good intentions.
Yeah, the upside is you're part of a team that helped the environment. On the downside, there's a creep who knows you.
Pluses and minuses, right? I'm weighing my options. I just got to get to work. But like, again, nothing he's saying here is overtly like problematic or even, I don't know enough about the context of it, but even incorrect, right? He's talking very excitedly about this thing that he's got going on with very like mechanical terminology.
Yeah.
Clearly has put a lot of thought and time and effort into it and is very excited about it. And I'm like, that's great. And then here's the kicker, right? After I tell him that I'm like mostly aesthetics, he stops speaking as though he's going to recruit me, which is great. I'm totally here for that. Please.
Let's get back to the dog.
Right, let's get back to the dog.
How's this dog thing working out for you?
I wish I could have, but it like kept going in the conversation. So I'm like, And we get close to the office. And we're pulling up at like the intersection before we make the turn into the final stretch. And he's like, yeah, I mean, like, we've already started figuring out stuff about going into space and making this whole thing work. Like, this Elon guy's got it figured out. No, he knows what he's doing. Like, but the important thing...
I like referring to him as that Elon guy, like trying to pretend you don't know him anymore, especially if your thing is space.
Well, so here's the thing. This is the most insane part of this conversation. He calls him that Elon guy. He's like, it's going to be really important because people like that, they're really smart. They got it all figured out. You just got to make sure that they stay on the straight and narrow, right? And that if they start straying off the path of the light, then you can go up to them and be like, hey, man, turn it back around. You're going in the wrong direction.
Did you immediately, like, image search Elon for him to see, like, oh, this is one of the smart guys that you know?
No, I sat there for a moment and I'm like, I can't argue that the man is intelligent, but I completely disagree with his political leanings. And he goes like, oh yeah, no, people like that shouldn't be getting into politics at all. And I'm like, he has been, though. This man turns full 180 degrees to look at me in the back seat, goes, I'm sorry, what?
Oh, this guy has not been he's been over every rock in space.
He didn't know. He didn't know. He turns to me and he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, have you not like seen what's been going on lately? He's like, no, I all I know is about like the fact that he's been helping out with space stuff. I'm like, no, this man has been systematically like destroying the current America as we know it. Like he is resulting in the direct firings of people whose research is assisting in curing of cancer. Like, there are award-winning scientists and doctors and people who are being just obliterated of their jobs because of this man and his stupid Doge thing that he's got going on.
I am become meme. Yeah, pretty much. I'm just living the meme. It's like there's living the dream and there's living the meme, and it's pretty much what's happening,
And as I'm saying this dude is like gone dead silent. He's like, my God, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to get on Google and like,
you made him enter an episode of Twilight Zone.
He legitimately reacted in a way that makes me think he had no idea. I am boggled by this conversation because he clearly hasn't been paying attention to any of it beyond the SpaceX stuff.
Well, now, okay, but I'll shout out my co-host, Stephen Worth. Thank God we do this show to keep people informed that, hey, you know what Musk is up to? He's in the White House now,
It just, Like, I hate to make another episode in which we talk about how terrible Elon Musk is.
Well, this is relevant to the driver story because it's interesting to find someone who doesn't know what Musk is up to.
It was so weird. It was legitimately fascinating. Like, the reaction that this man had, I'm like, you literally didn't know. That's...
You're still calling him that Elon guy. You know this thing, Twitter?
Right?
It's no longer Twitter.
It's no longer Twitter. Honestly, part of me wishes to have the blissful ignorance of a man who does not know that Elon Musk is a fucking fascist.
Yeah, just have a dog.
Yeah.
And just dreams of working in space.
Right? Like, hell yeah. Live your best life, my man. And the dog was very, very cute. I think it was probably some kind of, like, Doberman or something they were talking about. Like, what happens when you get its ears cropped. And you gotta put the cone on him and stuff. Which is sad, but very cute puppy.
So is this, like, top 5 weirdest Lyft?
Yeah. No, this is officially top 5. This is up there with the guy that hit on me for the entire second half of the ride and then said to me, I almost wish I didn't have to drop you off, like we could just go get coffee. And then that was awkward.
Yeah.
And the dude who flies drones over the mall?
You should link up with the other guy you mentioned.
Honestly, yeah. I can barely remember the drone guy's conversation, but I remember it was unhinged.
Would you ever own a bird?
No.
Would you ever own anything?
Yes. Are we talking animals or things in general? I'd like to own a house, but right now I can maybe afford a couple water bottles.
I could use $1. I could use a couple bucks.
So that's slick. No, I mean, birds aren't meant to be pets. Like, yes, we have pet-ified them.
Yeah, I think we could domesticate any animal.
Right. I mean, people have domesticated pigs.
Alligators.
They've domesticated alligators. They've domesticated hedgehogs and ferrets and whatever. Peacocks. Why not?
Honestly, we need to save pandas.
Also true. But I do not think a house panda is a good idea.
Why not? They're gonna give themselves more brain damage tumbling into the wall.
Very possible. Very possible. I fear for what happens to their brain capacity when they are not in their native environment.
Let me tell you, spoiler, it's the same. They're the dumbest fucking creatures ever.
They're so cute.
Yeah, a lot of dumb things are cute. There are many boys and girls who've played that role in bars.
Okay, I feel it's important to reiterate on the bird level, and we can return to the...
Oh, we're going back to conspiracy theories?
No! Just, like, I want to clarify when I say that birds aren't meant to be pets. I'm not saying that you can't have a pet bird. That's totally fine. You should just be aware that they live for decades.
Yeah.
And that, like, you buy your... I saw something the other day, you buy your daughter a pet bird when she's, like, 5, and she goes off to college, and you still have that bird for, like, 20 more years.
Yeah.
It is, and they will not, like, it is a lot of a commitment to own a bird. So do so wisely.
Anything's a lot of a commitment, except for, like, a gerbil or a hamster.
That is true, that's like a year-long commitment.
They're, like, begging to die. It's very sad.
Did you see the video of the, like, hamster that had a magnet stuffed in its cheek, so it was just stuck to the cage for, like, a week?
I have not seen that.
It's so sad. He's fine. He's just,
I have totally curbed my algorithm to just show me dogs pretty much now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because there was a while where it was, especially right after the election, and after him being sworn in, where it was just fascism every third tweet. But then I, like, complained about it, and I don't think anyone... I have no traction, so no one saw this, but I just so happened to complain about it, and then it just fed me dogs the rest of time.
This is good. This is a good energy. I have to say, like, as creepy as it is that the algorithms react as quickly and with as much efficiency as they do.
It's more alive than most pandas.
It's very true. Better at reproducing.
Yep.
But what gets me about it is, like, when you do want to rearrange your algorithm, there are certain things that are very easy to get rid of, and there are certain things that are not.
Cooking seems to be the hardest thing to get rid of.
Yeah, I'm not looking to get rid of it, but it would be. I can always tell when my Instagram is broken when I open it up and it shows me like a bunch of like picturesque landscapes and like photos with filters on them, and I'm like, that ain't it. And then I reload the page and it's like, ah yes, fan art and comics and cooking and babies.
Yeah.
And the occasional boob. Just one though.
Besides, I wasn't listening to you because I was thinking about the biggest tit I ever thought of.
What's the last good meal you had?
I was pretty proud of dinner.
Yeah.
I thought I did good work.
You totally can be.
Yeah.
You could pick the dinner you just had, which was...
I made meat buns, which were like essentially... Alright, here's a fun little tip for those who are enjoying simple cooking. If you acquire a bag of pizza dough from the grocery store, a thing of ground turkey, a bag of taco mix, and some potatoes and corn, you can make for yourself some pretty delicious little taco seasoning meat buns. By just browning the meat and adding the taco sauce and steaming some potatoes and corn and putting them in a little, cut the pizza dough into quarters and wrap it up and stick it in the oven for like 450 for 12 minutes or so.
I'll be honest, and I can't imagine I'm alone. If I see a bag of pizza dough, the only thing you could make with that is pizza.
You must use your brain in
I'm not trying
ways.
and I'm not trying to like play the role of dumb guy here. It's just genuinely like, because I don't cook in general anyway.
Sure.
So if the instructions are pizza dough, I'm like, that makes sense.
Dough for pizza.
There's no other box this could fall into.
Unfortunately, I don't have a pizza stone.
Right.
We did buy more tomato sauce, so I guess I could have made pizza. But I don't have the things that would make it actually delicious pizza. I don't even have a freaking cast iron skillet. I got like a frying pan. I could stick it in the frying pan.
Yeah, our kitchen situation could be a sabotage and cutthroat kitchen.
This is true.
It's very small.
Yeah.
All of the pans are like 40 plus years old, except for a couple.
All of the pans except for some.
All of them except for the ones we use.
No, and I'm like, listen, I love having a functioning kitchen.
I think the countertop space is 2.5 to 3.5 feet.
There's not a lot to work with. Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of people out there like, oh, I die for a... Shut up. You probably don't cook anyway.
Shut up. No, I really appreciate this kitchen, despite the fact that it is difficult to work in, because I have been capable of making tasty meals in it. However, there is part of me that is excited to move apartments purely because it means that I don't have to deep clean it again, and I'll just have a new kitchen to start with.
Yeah.
I feel this way about many rooms in this house. Is just like, renting apartments is a trap. Right?
Yeah.
It is a money hole.
Much like taxes.
Much like tax. Well, yeah. That you just sink money into for years and years and years, and you get no returns on it. However, if you're a renter, you get a whole new canvas to start with every time you move house. Moving sucks, but having a clean house does not.
But yeah, you moved since 18, 4 or 5 times?
1, 2, 3. Like 3.
Okay.
Unless you counted the college dorm, in which case 4.
Okay. But before that, you've moved twice?
Correct.
I think that's more common, and I'm very uncommon, where I had like 11 places I moved into before I turned 13.
Yeah. Well, you guys were bopping from apartment to apartment.
Right.
Which, like, you know, if you're doing apartment living as a family, that definitely results in more moving. If you're doing house living as a family, it's, yeah.
Yeah, the only houses we lived in are eventually the one we settled in with my stepmom at 13.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it was one house for like a year, and then the other houses were when we lived with either grandparent set.
Sure. So I remember distinctly, because like I think I've mentioned I grew up kind of sheltered in a bubble.
Yeah.
But I remember the first time that I went to someone's house in my class. Like, I went to a nice private school, so most of the people whose houses I had gone to in the past were like fancy houses in the Silicon Valley area. Very, very nice. The first time that I ever went to someone's house and it was an apartment, I remember being kind of boggled just like very confused about the fact that like people live in apartments as families, as like actual, you know, you're not just a pair of college students moving from house to house. You're a full-grown family who's been living in an apartment for many years. I remember being fascinated by this. This is to show how precisely sheltered I had been, because it didn't occur to me that, like, no, that's super normal.
Yeah.
That's so normal.
Now, I will say I hadn't lived in an apartment as a kid smaller than the one we have now, which is just 1 bedroom.
Yeah, sure.
Every other apartment that I've dwelled in had at least 2 bedrooms.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people here that are raising a kid in their bedroom with them, pretty much.
No, for sure. Which, like, more power to them. It's hard. I actually, this is completely separate, but I think it's kind of funny. I really like having a slightly smaller house sometimes.
Why?
Like, it'd be nice to have more space, don't get me wrong. But sometimes you go to those, like, huge mansion-esque houses, and you sit there and you're like, if someone broke into my house downstairs, it would take me at minimum 30 to 40 minutes to know that I was not alone in my house.
Sure.
I can't hear the doors open. I don't know that the front door is locked.
I think it's a bad example with this place using that argument, because where we live, we're the first door from the parking lot.
It's real close.
So we get a lot of scammers at our door. A lot of people knocking on our door first for help or whatever.
Yeah. My favorite is when the PG&E people come by.
Yeah.
Because we don't have PG&E, we have another, like, we have the different
Smud.
people. Yeah. And so whenever they come by and they're like, hi, we're going to give you an iPhone if you take this survey for PG&E. And we're like, we don't have PG&E. And they go, sorry, what?
Yeah, they're like, are you sure?
They're like, yeah, no, I'm damn sure. I'm not paying for it. And then there's also the ones that come by and they're like, is anyone in your house qualified for Medicaid, Medicare, or whatever? And I'm like, I am. Do I look?
No, we got no one over 30 here.
I'm sorry. Please move on, child. Child with iPhone.
And clipboard.
And clipboard. This poor kid. He like, the last one that came up had to be less than 16 years old.
Yeah.
I cannot believe. Like, I really hope that he thinks he's doing the right thing, or is very much aware that he isn't. There cannot be any in between.
His uncle's probably sending him up for that scam.
Right? Like it's either, I'm gonna let you in on the family business. We're gonna scam the fuck out of some old people. Or it's like, you legitimately think you're doing a really, really good thing, and that's great.
I think it'd be more so they know I'm an independent scammer.
Sure.
Less than I think I'm doing a great thing.
Well, like, I mean, if you don't know that what you're doing is scamming people.
I don't know, I feel like even Girl Scouts at a young age know that we're trying to swindle here.
And that is true. Although, my God, apparently there's someone who's been doing a smear campaign on Girl Scout cookies.
Go on.
No, like, hold on, I want to actually get the details of this one before I go into it.
Thin mints are people.
No, it's like a political thing.
Well, they're all like, the Boy Scouts are Mormon as shit and whatever, so there's problems there.
Yeah, like, I'm trying to find this exact thing, and I can't, hold on.
That and youth sports exude a lot of forced upon Christian values. What is it with cookies and Christians?
Cookies and Christians? You're talking about Crumble again?
Crumble and, what is it, Chip?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, both of those places. Super Christian.
Yeah. Here we go. Here, this absolutely heinous statement. There is someone who's been hired politically recently, and she, I believe,
Get fucked and stay then.
Zen Honeycutt. I'm gonna go with...
Oh, I thought Zen was the pronoun they go by.
No, I think her first name is Zen. Girl Scout cookies. Trace amounts of heavy metals, arsenic, cadmium, lead, mercury, aluminum, and an herbicide called glyphosate. She did a smear campaign against Girl Scout cookies and pretty much all cookies unless they're organic, which has resulted in, people, like, this is completely misleading. They're not nearly as scary as it sounds. It's a very small sample size of 25 cookies.
Vegans need more hobbies.
All these goddamn groups out there,
bitch moaning and complaining anytime anybody says anything. Hey, we're part of a group. You know what? Fuck you and your group. Who the fuck joins a group? I'm gonna join a group. That's what I'm gonna do today. Go to meetings. Kind of a fucking loser.
25 boxes, 25 cookies. There was no peer review. There were methodological issues, and none of those items are dangerous.
Yeah.
Like it just, it is not. You'd have to eat over 73,000 cookies a day to reach a concerning level.
It sounds like Cam versus Food is back on.
And it has become just a PR nightmare, right? Like Joe Rogan took this thing on. There's a pending class action lawsuit.
Oh yeah, because that guy has a lot of power right now.
No, I know. And like there's a huge like political thing for it, but I saw someone the other day whose daughter is a Girl Scout post on Facebook. It's like literally multiple adults today came up to my daughter selling Girl Scout cookies and yelled at her for like continuing to spread this disease of like she's 9.
As an educator, there's a lot of shithead kids, and I get that. But nothing bothers me more than the adults who get ruffled by 9-year-olds being 9-year-olds.
Dude, and especially if the 9-year-olds being 9-year-olds are Girl Scouts selling Girl Scout cookies, which is specifically an action that adults tell them to do.
Right.
Because it quote unquote teaches them like, leadership skills and business sense. Like this is not even a 9-year-old acting like a 9-year-old. This is a 9-year-old attempting to act like a 20-year-old.
Sure.
And being screamed at for selling cookies that she did not make.
This is Code Red fucking season of Winning Time tapes. People gotta go. People who get pissed off at children existing.
Kick them.
Yeah.
They get the big boot.
And again, I'm not standing up for kids. I'm not.
Excuse me?
I'm not saying kids are perfect. I'm not saying that, but
nobody's perfect.
And again, you're getting mad at someone who's supposed to fuck up.
Right. Now, this child's brain has not developed as of yet.
Right.
The purpose of life is to fuck it up at least a few times.
And they're not even fucking up, and you're getting mad.
Yeah, no.
That's what I just. Be a cop. I don't know.
No.
If you get off on power tripping children, don't be an educator. Be a police officer.
Yeah. Well, I mean.
And if you want to be a polished police officer, be a fireman, because firemen have amazing PR. Unlike a policeman.
They do. I'm trying to remember what it was that I saw the other day of a dude who was like volunteering for a recruit firefighter training exercise.
Yeah.
Where like they all were like recruited as quote unquote wound victims, where you lie on the ground in this training simulation and the firefighters come and get you. And this dude had like some sort of thing that meant he couldn't move, and so he was lying there. And the firefighter comes up and is like, he leans down and whispers into his ear, like, you're gonna be okay, I've got you. And he picks this fully grown man up and like throws him bodily over his shoulder and like carries him out of the building. And the dude is standing here recounting this story like, first of all, I get it. Second of all, I might like really get it now. Like I might understand fully why people find firefighters so attractive.
I've been a bad fireman. I need to be punished.
Like I'm a straight man. I'm a very straight man, but that may have shifted a little bit.
A lot of people like to say they are a very straight man.
I think all humans are at least a tiny bit heteroflexible.
Yeah, it's
if you're not.
Circumstance, and it's like it starts with bets and dares and hypothetical conversations you have with kids about like, oh, well, is it going to be a problem? It's like, yeah, it'd be the worst thing in the world if I got kissed by a guy.
Oh my god, it'd be so crazy and weird. I can't believe anyone would ever do that.
It'd be the worst thing that could happen to me.
It'd be the worst possible thing, and no one should ever, wink, wink, do it to me.
Yeah, no one should do that.
I'd be really, really wink mad about it.
I think that's one thing that's positive on, sorry to go, my job, again.
Yeah.
I see a lot of kid interactions a lot.
That is how it works.
And I think one thing that's positive is, like, when I was growing up, people were, like, trying to be insulting by saying you're gay as as a demeaning thing.
Circa 2013.
I do much prefer this era of 13-year-olds, like, if you make that shot, I'm gonna kiss you as a threat. That's a much more positive spin.
It's funny as hell.
And it's a lot funnier, too.
I'll say this, the expansion of irony
Mm-hmm.
over the course of generations, and I know for a fact that irony has always been a thing. I feel like it is more prevalent among Gen Z and Gen Alpha than it even was in millennials and Gen Xers, right? Like, but I know it's been present.
Yeah, millennial posters are like deep irony where they can't even attach to things anymore.
Right.
Like that's the level that millennials are at least online anyway.
Right.
Whereas Gen Z and Gen Alpha, like, they almost have internalized that punishment.
By the irony.
Well, they've internalized that punishment isn't real.
Sure.
Like
actions have no consequences.
Right. It's like if you're like, all right, if you do this, you get detention. I have kids like, I like detention. Do it, please.
Right. Yeah. Right. Like bet you won't.
Like there's nothing that really annoys them, which doesn't bother me because I'm not seeking to punish kids, but it does hinder other people's approach to setting ground rules for children.
Oh, sure, it's hard, especially when you're trying to like establish a sense of authority, right? For some people, it's really, really difficult to understand what causes authority to be appreciated beyond just like no, fuck you, you're not my boss. I don't respect a damn bit of your authority, right? Because you're just a kid that doesn't perceive that any action has consequences, and Lord knows that media and any kind of modern context of politic is not proving that actions do in fact have consequences. I'm waiting for karma.
The only consequence in real life is, are you rich enough to make many people's lives worse?
Yep. Or are you rich enough to make them worse but then pay them a lot of money so they don't think it is? Mr. Beast.
Or white enough, Kyle Rittenhouse.
Also valid.
If you're white enough, you could just shoot people and it's okay.
God, did you hear that they're potentially giving Luigi the death penalty?
Come on, keep cooking.
Free Luigi.
Free Luigi?
Yeah, I mean, him and, I'm so sorry I forget his name. I think his name was Bush or something. I don't know, that guy who set himself on fire for Gaza protests and Luigi have been, like, the two kind of... It's weird to say best people, but definitely the people that, like, for the West, for taking a stand, symbols of, like, actual, like, humanitarian outlook for good.
Sure. Although the dude that set himself on fire I find slightly less commendable. Just on the grounds of, like, he ended up dying from that.
Well, yeah, you set himself on fire.
Very much set himself on fire and then died, which, like, again, it's a very selfless and noble act, except for the fact that you set yourself on fire, and now you mostly just act as a martyr.
Well, yeah, I think that was the thing, because he was a journalist, and, like, just... Because that was his, like, life was covering that, so he just couldn't take it anymore. Yeah. And I'm not saying everyone should go down that path.
I was gonna say no.
I'm not saying that. I'm not advocating for that. And I'm not gonna say it, but...
yeah, please don't.
It was more so just, like... I think the martyrdom for that one guy doing it shows, again, the actual importance and, like, how much of a concentrated effort all American and Western media sites are trying to diminish what's happening.
Yeah, sure.
So as long as people remember his story, then people could still care about this really relevant and ongoing thing.
Yeah, that's valid. That is super valid.
That being said...
Don't set yourself on fire.
Yeah. And
World the story.
And don't yell at kids. Honestly, if you're going to be an authority figure to them, it's not like earn their trust to betray it, but make them, like, want to, like, respect you.
Sure.
Because it's really hard to gain respect anyway.
No, yeah, especially after you've lost it.
So if you can entertain them or just be a reliable presence, when, like, you see, like, them actively, like, getting punched down, like, hey, break it up, and, like, since they know you're chill, they're more likely to listen to you.
Right.
As opposed to if you say, get off your phone all day, and then you see them picking on someone, they're just going to, as soon as you turn your back, keep doing what they're doing.
No, absolutely. No.
And not that they're not going to do it if you're nice, but they will... It's a percentage game where they are going to respect you more.
Well, and it's not even just about respect at that point. It's like, I actually feel bad for disrespecting you.
Or, like, I don't want to... Like, if I've had the opportunity to had kids be almost disappointed in themselves for disappointing me.
Yeah.
In some spots. Again, I'm not like that with everyone, but...
No, but like for some people, that's how it works. Like I know for a damn fact that in any situation where I disappointed a teacher or like made someone, I just like ended up getting the boot because I fucked it up.
Right.
And just the guilt, right?
Yeah.
Forever the guilt. And I'm not ever gonna say that I was the kind of kid that acted out in class. That's not even close to the truth. But even then, like the guilt of like, oh, I made this teacher who I really, really love feel upset. I made their life harder. There's nothing I'd rather do less in this moment than make your life worse.
Yeah, I think some people are wired that way. Grink and I talk all the time about how other end of the spectrum of too self-aware and don't want to be a bother to anybody.
Yeah.
If we could give someone space in either a driving or grocery line context, we will.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas some people are so oblivious to what they're doing and how that affects other people.
Sure. I've been trying really hard to get better at giving instructions.
Mm-hmm.
This, I promise, is somewhat relevant.
Yeah, go for it.
Because similar to my Lyft driver, right, who had a very clear train of thought in his head, but because he was moving through it so quickly, was unable to articulate to me the connecting bits that made it make sense.
Mm-hmm.
In a similar sense, I think frequently my brain moves at a speed of someone who already knows what's going on, and when you need to explain something to someone who doesn't live in your head,
yeah,
right, you have to be much clearer about what you're asking for.
It's like the experiment of making a kid tell you all the instructions of making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Exactly. Right, which is a crucial experiment, and honestly, I will remain bitter that I never got to do it. I just missed that class.
Well, hey, summer camp idea for me.
Oh, absolutely do it.
I'm doing that.
I would love to hear whether or not any kid actually gets past open the jar.
I know. The only problem is that I'm going to have to like personally invest in this economy, buying a lot of breads and jellies and all that stuff.
Here's the fun thing. You can probably get away with 1 jar of peanut butter, 1 jar of jelly, and 1 bag of bread, because some of them aren't even going to get to the point of open the bag.
No, but the thing is, I'm going to do it very literally because I think it's more funny. It's like, apply peanut butter to bread. I'm not going to open the bag. I'm just going to start slathering peanut butter on the bag of bread.
Well, you can buy 2 bags of bread then. Get the cheap stuff, the Wonder Bread.
Right, well, obviously that.
Go to the dollar store.
But I'm very just ideas, man.
Yeah.
Execution lacking. Follow through. Working on it.
Mm.
But I just see a lot of things in my head and just want it to work out the way I see it, which again, kind of your point of giving someone instructions, it's harder to realize it for someone else to how to get there.
Yeah, sure. Well, and so that's kind of like, we went and did groceries today.
Yeah.
And we were putting them away. And I remember I asked you something about, I need you to put, essentially what I was asking you was like, I need you to put this object on this side of the cabinet and move this object out of the cabinet. It was something to that effect. And I remember that when I asked you about it, I was thinking about it and I'm like, no, you didn't articulate that very well. What you said was like, can you take this and put it next to that thing over there?
I think I hold up a thing, I showed it to you, and I motioned my hand to the cabinet, and you shook your head no.
Well, that was one of them. There was definitely a moment where, like, I was asking you to put the goldfish or something in the corner of the cabinet, but I needed you to move out a bag of something else to make room for it. I can't remember what it was, but I remember I had articulated it unclearly.
Uh-huh.
But because you know me very well, you did exactly what I asked, because you know what I was asking. The motions and the knowledge that we have of how we communicate made it clear enough that it wasn't a problem.
And we're not non-verbal. She was on the phone at the time.
Right. Also, to be clear, like, in many contexts, I actually pride us on the capability of being able to work together non-verbally. We were playing Overcooked last night, and I was mentioning the fact that, like, when we get into the groove, generally, we barely speak during Overcooked. However, when it gets really hard, that's when we have to start communicating.
But that's why it's, and I've always had the respect for this, because being born in 2000, I grew up on early YouTubers playing video games with, commentary over it.
Sure.
And unless it's, like, in a group setting and playing something like, I guess, League of Legends or Counter-Strike or whatever, being able to talk over a game is a lot harder than you think, especially while also being entertaining. Because you could ramble and play the game and be fine at both, but it's not the best show.
Right.
But to be able to not just fuck up the game as you're trying to think of things to say.
Right, and it's hard, especially with like games that are more intensive, right? No wonder a vast majority of YouTuber like Let's Play content is just people yelling or repeating the same words over and over again.
Sure.
Your brain needs to stim and you need to speak, but you don't have anything to say.
Or there's like at the summer camp I was working at, there were kids that just wanted to watch this one guy, I forget their name now, but it's like their whole thing was like playing the game to like the full extent, like pushing the limits of it.
Yeah, I remember you talking about this dude, the like Minecraft guy.
Yes, and his thing was he'd build the scenario in whatever game engine he's doing his experiment in, and then do post-game commentary, which the kids don't seem to mind. Whereas we're used to, like, oh, if you got 12 million PewDiePie views, that means he screamed a lot and cursed a lot in this episode.
Sure.
Whereas...
Circa baking simulator.
Right. Whereas kids are slightly more interested in not the person being funny themselves, but if the game is being funny or the game is being entertaining.
Sure.
Whereas we more so cared about the person playing.
Yeah. No, there's decidedly a difference between the modern YouTuber and the early YouTuber, right? Like the people that I was interested in watching, I'll say the benefit of it is that I have grown with them as they have aged, right? Like we've watched the Game Grumps for the entirety of our relationship, and I've been watching the Game Grumps for years prior to that.
Yeah.
And back in the early days, you know, Aaron and Danny were very, very energetic. They were much younger. They were, you know, there was a lot different about them a decade ago.
They were eating worse and playing at 2 a.m.
Correct. Than there is now, who are, you know, the two slightly more aged men who are trying to take care of their bodies and, you know, be good to themselves.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about it is, like, the kind of comedy that they do has evolved, and thus, as human beings also aging, we evolve with it. So the modern stuff is still funny, it's just a different funny. This is not to say that the original stuff back in the day is not still funny. In fact, it's still the funniest stuff. But it means that I'm not sitting there being like, they used to be better.
It is funny watching things evolve like that for our time, because I don't want to go, you know, deep dive into a 2013 was the PC churn conversation. But, and I don't, because I'm bringing this up as an example because I don't think this is super affected by that, but 07 to like 2011 Smosh was a different beast that I found more appealing.
Sure.
Even though I don't really go back and watch that, because it was a different time and my sense of humor has changed.
Yeah.
But I remember distinctly when they brought in more people and Anthony got less involved, and as that changed over time, there are some people who are fans of this who weren't around for that. Some people prefer this to that. But it definitely is just, I think it's an evolution that worked enough for them, but it incorporated a lot more change.
Sure.
Whereas Game Grumps has the same formula, but you could definitely tell almost when something was.
Right.
And I think it was almost more natural, but maybe that's because Smosh has been around longer since Game Grumps was, 2013?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, with Smosh, I think you can clearly denote different eras, right?
Yeah.
Like, with Game Grumps, it's a slide, and you can see it shift and change, but it's a much more difficult delineation between the time periods. For Smosh, you can be like, okay, this was when Smosh Games existed. This was, or at least the original Smosh Games crew. This is when Shane joined. This is when Anthony left. You know, like, you can put it into distinct eras and time periods, and the modern Smosh is a decidedly different beast than the original ever was.
And for people who aren't super involved in YouTube, I don't know how many people that is.
I'm sure this is interesting.
Right. You could replace this with movies where everything has, like, the Seth Rogen cadence in the big action movies since, like, 2013.
Or the specific color toning that they've been putting over everything, that kind of, like, gray thing.
Yeah, it's just dark gray, and, like, it's unnatural lighting everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry, this is separate, but I thought it was really, like, weird and cool. So, I want on record, before I go into this, that I find the choice for most of the situations where they've been making live-action remakes of Disney movies to be absolutely abhorrent. I think it's kind of stupid.
Yeah, it's a bad idea.
It's a bad idea. And there are many contexts in which it works, right? The Maleficent series, old gag, new twist. Interesting. Well done. One of the original Jungle Books, quite good. I even liked the Cinderella movie. I haven't seen many of the others because I boycott them on a general basis. I think they're stupid.
Yeah.
And I think it is idiotic to revamp things as live-action movies when the Muppets are right the hell there. Just use them.
Yeah, that's
right?
a good point.
Could you imagine, like, Muppet Beauty and the Beast?
I can.
It'd be amazing.
The only thing I'd have a problem with that is the other part of Hollywood, where it's like, oh, it's the Muppets movie, but it's also now a Jason Momoa movie, or now it's a Timothy Chalamet movie.
Shyamalan?
Whatever.
M. Night Timothy Chalamet.
Chalamet?
Shyamalan Ding Dong.
Yeah.
Who's actually quite good. And
I like him too, but I'm just saying, like, it'll be now Muppets would be not just a star that is, like, in suit or in line with the rest of their comedy or approach. It'll be the biggest name.
Right, who's the biggest name that actually fits the story for where it is.
Right. So, but anyway, your point about live-action Disney.
Right, point about live-action Disney. So I think they're mostly important. The recent Snow White is a perfect example of this because it is just getting panned. Every single review I've seen has the word stupid at least somewhere within the first couple of things. It is getting, like, referred to as overly woke. It is referred to as a poor plot line. The CGI is apparently off-putting. And I'm not sitting here, like, going to say one way or the other in the context of wokeness. I don't even care about the, like, oh, her skin is supposed to be Snow White. Why not just use a white person? I don't care.
Yeah, and also just, like, I am on record as not the biggest fan of Disney Plus, but find me a Disney-produced thing after 2017 where there hasn't been millions of articles of, like, too woke.
Right, exactly. Like, and to be clear, I don't care how much you push it. I think there are some situations where it's done very, very successfully, and the point is that it's not pushed, like, that is the point. But in this case, I don't care. What I do care about, right, beyond the fact that the plot is apparently terrible, the CGI is off-putting, and yada, 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 is the outfits.
Okay.
The costuming. If you take the opportunity to look up the costuming of specifically Snow White's dress.
It'll be on screen at this point for the YouTube version.
You will note a couple of really interesting things, and the primary thing that you may notice is that it feels out of place, right? Something about how this outfit actually looks, I'll pull up a photo so Cameron can see it while we're talking about this, is that it's just very bright. It feels wrong. The shapes and colors that go together are just off. And if you remember what the original Snow White looked like, there was a very primary aesthetic to the colors and the tones in the outfit. What you are currently seeing is wrong.
It feels like the wrong princess almost. This almost feels like what maybe Jane from Tarzan would wear.
Sure.
I actually don't hate it maybe as much as people think it do, because I think, not to defend one of the 5 worst companies in the world, but the point of Snow White was it was the first, animated color film.
Sure.
So Snow White should be the brightest thing. In that frame you showed me, those dwarves are unforgivable in 2025.
Oh my god, when I said that the CGI is off-putting, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
The dwarves are just horrifying looking. The thing is, it's okay for her to be bright, right? It is okay for her to be the brightest thing on the set, and that's fine.
Yeah.
It is specifically the choice to use those synthetic colors that they're using, because in the time that this movie is theoretically set, what they should be using is natural dyes, right?
Sure.
Add a little tiny bit of orange to the yellow of the skirt, add a little bit of purple to the blue sort of teal tone of the top, and you actually start pushing it into a zone that is much more, not only reasonable for the time, but fitting to the aesthetic of the film. And she starts to fit in better to how it looks. Right now, what it looks like is very cheap and very out of place.
I think that's another thing with the non-indie films in general is how surprisingly cheap they are. Like, I have problems with Cruella, which is supposed to be like, the dress, the insane costuming movie. And yeah, I feel like they made a lot of shortcuts.
I actually really liked Cruella, though.
It's a good movie.
It's a great movie.
But the shortcuts to me are apparent.
Sure. I mean, there's certain qualities to it, but actually, I will say I'm pretty sure that the costumes for Cruella were made by, like, official fashion designers.
Oh, I'm sure, like, all of the ones in scenes where it's like, I'm debuting a new dress. I'm sure, obviously, they put care into those. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of other things that weren't the Stooges' day clothes that seem very throwaway or not really thought about.
I guess I could see what you're saying. It's been a while since I've seen it, so I can't vouch for it one way or the other.
Yeah.
I will say, this is completely separate, but it's just, you want to see a movie with gorgeous costuming. Very, very heartwarming film that happened I think it came out during COVID or like 2022. Film adaptation of Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. An absolutely adorable film in which a washerwoman decides she wants a high fashion dress and flies to Paris to spend her life savings on a really, really nice dress. Heartwarming characters, great storyline, gorgeous costuming. Very much on purpose, because it's meant to be like haute couture. And it's just really, really cool stuff, and I really enjoyed the film. I'm not going to sit here and be like, it's the best costuming ever I've ever seen. But it was pretty cool, and I enjoyed it a lot. I geek out about this kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, you took a fashion cinema course.
Well, of course. I mean, it's part of being a designer. You got to have an appreciation for all walks of life, especially in the design context. I can't sew for crap.
But you do embroidery.
I do. I enjoy embroidery. Colors are hard, and I hadn't realized how much of embroidery and cross-stitch is about finding colors that look good together before you can even decide what you want to make.
I think colors are hard was my kindergarten yearbook quote.
Colors are hard. I don't understand what.
I've never been an artistman. Like, I draw as well now as I did at age 7.
That's okay. Some people just aren't a vibe with it.
And it's not like I don't appreciate people who do. It's just that these hands were meant to destroy and catch footballs, not make things.
Destroy?
Yeah.
Destroy what?
Popsicle stick bridges. Paper.
Sounds...
Cereal boxes.
Destructive. This man cannot open a cereal box to save his life.
Oh, I beg to differ. I can open the cereal box.
Can you close it again afterward?
Does it need to be closed?
Yes!
Why?
The cereal goes stale!
Pause. All cereal is stale. That's why we have milk.
Incorrect. Decidedly incorrect. Have you ever had a bowl of cereal and then you wait like a week with the baggie open, and then you have that same cereal and you were like, this is decidedly bad and stale and worse?
That only happens if it's like the marshmallows of Lucky Charms.
No.
That Honey Bunches of Oats is eternal.
I don't think it is. I think if you bit into one of those like flakes right now, because it's been up there for, I don't know, months, it would go chew instead of crunch.
Right?
He's going to go get it.
I'm getting it.
He's going to go get the Honey Bunches cereal. On record, folks, we have had this cereal for, it's got to be like months at this point, I feel like. That's Corn Jacks. Did we throw out the Honey Bunches?
Well, I would love to have some Honey Bunches,
Yeah.
but,
Well, both of those are going to be nice because I opened the boxes.
Okay. This is the box of Cheerios?
Yep.
Kid, I don't think yellow's my color. Why not, Sue? Because this gorilla thinks I'm a banana. Help, kid! Time for a powerful Cheerios breakfast. A balanced breakfast like this one.
You got to go with Cheerios.
I would say it doesn't even matter how you open the box because you put a chip clip on the bag anyway.
Yeah, I did. Because I don't trust anyone to close the box after I open it. Listen, cereal boxes aren't exact science. But I will say that in the most part, A, they pop open when you squeeze them like that. So they may have been closed before you squozed it.
Squeeze? I applied zero pressure on those to hold them.
You picked it up.
I picked it up. I fucking picked it up.
Generally, when you pick up the cereal box, the point is that it opens because you're gonna have cereal. Not just come around and shake it in front of a microphone.
They are fun.
Cereal ASMR.
Fucking... Those Cheerios were fine in 1933. They're fine now.
Listen.
No matter how much I shake them up. And they're trying to shake up Cheerios for years. They got frosted. They got honey nut. They got like mint flavored. Ooh. They got so many Cheerios.
The concept of mint Cheerios makes me a little angry.
Why?
It just feels so wrong.
You know, we've tried to do so much custom shit on our food. Especially cereals.
I think that mint is a delicious flavor.
Yeah.
I think that mint and chocolate is one of the best flavor combinations out there.
Oh, yeah.
I think that mint
Cereal.
Cheerios, not mint chocolate Cheerios, mint Cheerios in milk sounds like one of the most toothpastey things.
Well, that's the thing and why they made them. Because some people
They did not make toothpaste Cheerios because they wanted to have toothpaste mouth.
Some people brush their teeth then eat breakfast. With the new mint Cheerios, you don't have to rebrush your teeth.
Don't sell me on mint Cheerios. That shit's dumb.
Then why is it on the shelves?
It isn't on the shelves. I literally bet you that there is not a mint Cheerio. I have never seen evidence of a mint Cheerio. I don't know.
Well, yeah, it leaves your breath refreshing. Of course, that's the whole point, is you can't tell when someone's had mint Cheerios.
No one has had mint Cheerios.
When you look up mint Cheerios, it actually shows that there is a 2000 promotion where the U.S. Mint collaborated with General Mills to make Cheerio dollars. And if you subscribe, I will go to eBay and find every Cheerio dollar, and I will give out a Cheerio dollar to every subscriber.
High promises.
There's only 5,000 of them, and there's only 6 subscribers, so... if I can get to 5,000, it'll be worth every damn Cheerio.
Mint Cheerio dollars. I also would like to respectfully point out at this moment that you were wrong. Haha. Haha.
And you were wrong about it mattering that the cereal boxes were open.
Listen,
you put a chip clip on it, which destroys the purpose.
No.
You're smiling because you know you're wrong.
It's the principle of the thing. You can put the chip clip on the bag of Cheerios and have the nice top to close. It just means that when the Cheerios sink down to the bottom of the basket and suddenly you can't close the box anymore, it's not for lack of trying, it is simply because there's too much Cheerio, and so you can just chip clip it up, and then you have the top, which you can close very nice and neat as needed, instead of having it ripped down the side like a barbarian.
Counterpoint. Have you seen me ever eat those Cheerios?
No, because they're my Cheerios.
Right. So thus you have no fear of me opening your box like a barbarian, but you still feel the need to chip clip them.
Yeah. Because otherwise they go stale.
So it doesn't matter how I open the box.
It absolutely matters. It's the principle of the thing.
God, your principle not fun right now.
Tearing the cereal box down the edge is psycho shit.
It's not psycho shit.
It is.
Psycho shit would be like having cereal on a plate.
That is psychotic.
Like a paper plate of Cheerios.
That's weird. Well, okay, no. Paper plate of Cheerios somehow for like the child.
No, the milk breaks the plate. What are you talking about?
You didn't say milk, you just said Cheerios.
Do you eat a bowl of dry Cheerios?
If I put them on a paper plate as a child, yes.
You're not making art, you're eating them.
Well, that wasn't part of the deal. In this hypothetical, you said Cheerios on a paper plate.
In this hypothetical, we're talking about psychos.
Milk was never entered into the equation.
Milk is every part of the equation when talking about eating cereal.
You don't even like milk.
I don't. I'm not a big cereal enjoyer because of that.
I think it's delicious.
Milk.
It's good.
Milk is not delicious.
It is so good.
It almost borderlines on gross.
That is no. Yeah, wrong.
Cows drink that
They
because it's from a cow.
Yeah, so do we, jackass.
Yeah, we drank, titties milk when it was appropriate, but then you grow out of it. You don't start drinking the cow's milk.
Well, here's a fun little fact for you. Fuck you.
This is someone who's determined not to be lactose intolerant.
Oh, absolutely no. I am keeping up my enjoyment of cheese and milk and other assorted dairy products.
Keeping up my enjoyment of cheese.
You can't make me stop, dude. I don't care. I will down the entire container of cream. It will be worth it. I am white and I intend to make the best use of that thing.
And that's when winning time tapes.
Gotta have it super fast.
Breakfast you've got time for.
Super fast, I come in last. But just in time for breakfast. Keep it true, forever blue. The night throws out just aluminum. A crucial fun, aluminum. The sea is radioactive. The sea is radioactive.
All hail King Neptune and his water breathers. No snail thing too quick for his water feeders. Don't waste time with your net. Our net worth is set, ready, go. Many know others. We be the colors of the mad and the wicked. We be bad, we be bricket with the 24-hour sign. Shower mind habits while you dine like rabbits with the crunchy carrots. Gotta have it super fast.
Super fast, I come in last. But just in time for breakfast. Keep it true, forever blue.